Let's go Dolphins! In the last few hours, we received some news that made me a little excited. The Miami Dolphins are making waves in free agency and have made a move that has generated a lot of debate among fans. Another confirmed signing, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. We'll also talk about a chain and how Mike McDaniel intends to organize the team for next season. Before continuing, make sure you've already hit the like button if you're a true Miami Dolphins fan. There are people here who have been rooting for the Dolphins for over 25 years. It's great to see fans of all ages. If possible, comment like this: I'm still going to see the Miami Dolphins in the Super Bowl. So let's start with this news. The team officially signed veteran running back Alexander Mattison, adding him to a backfield that already had Devin Achane and Jalen Wright. Head coach Mike McDaniel made it clear at the NFL Combine that the Dolphins were looking to add multiple running backs this offseason, either through free agency or the draft. And now, we have another name in the mix. But what does this signing really mean for Miami? Let's break it down. First, let's talk about what the Dolphins currently have at running back. Achane is a lightning-quick playmaker who was used more effectively in the passing game last season than in traditional running situations. He barely dropped a pass all year and was often lined up in the slot or used on outside runs. Meanwhile, Jalen Wright, a fourth-round pick last year out of Tennessee, has shown flashes of physicality but is still viewed more as a speed back than a reliable short-yardage option. That's where Mattison should come in. At 5 feet 11 inches and 220 pounds, Mattison brings a bigger frame and a more physical style of running to Miami's offense. But here's where things get interesting. While he has the size of a power back, the numbers tell a different story. Last season with the Minnesota Vikings, Mattison rushed for 700 yards on 180 carries but failed to score a single rushing touchdown. That's not the type of production you expect from a short yardage specialist. In fact, looking at his entire career, his yards per carry average has steadily declined. In 2019, as a rookie, he averaged 4.6 yards per carry. By 2023, that number had dropped to just 3.2 yards per carry during his short stint with the Las Vegas Raiders. That's a significant drop-off and raises questions about his effectiveness in Miami's offense. And here's the most shocking stat of all. Inside the 5-yard line over the past 2 seasons, Mattison had 19 rushing attempts for a total of -7 yards. Yes, you heard that right. -7 yards on 19 carries. Now, he did score 4 touchdowns in those situations, but overall, that level of inefficiency is concerning. The Dolphins signed him to be the bruising, between the tackles back they've been missing. But if he struggles in short yardage situations, is he really the answer? Another factor to consider is the wear and tear on Mattison's body. At 26 years old, he's not old by NFL standards, but he has already logged 6 seasons in the league and carried the ball 716 times. Running backs tend to decline quickly, and given his recent production, there's reason to believe that Mattison may already be on the downside of his career. That being said, this is a 1-year deal, meaning the Dolphins are taking a low-risk approach. If Mattison doesn't work out, they aren't locked into a long-term commitment. And let's not forget, Miami still has the NFL draft ahead of them, where they are expected to add another running back. With 11 total picks, including multiple selections on day 3, there's a strong chance they use one of them on another back to further solidify the room. But here's where it gets even more intriguing. This move comes on the same day that Raheem Mostert, one of Miami's most productive backs last season, signed with the Las Vegas Raiders. Essentially, the Dolphins and Raiders swapped running backs, with Mostert heading to Vegas and Mattison coming to Miami. It's a curious move, considering Mostert's success in Miami's system. He was a reliable runner, a good fit for McDaniel's scheme, and still had plenty of speed left in his game. So why move on from him in favor of Mattison, who has struggled in short yardage situations and doesn't bring the same level of explosiveness? That's a question Dolphins fans are surely asking right now. Of course, Miami has been busy making moves across the board, not just at running back. They've added players at key positions, including offensive line, linebacker, and wide receiver. Some of the notable signings include offensive lineman James Daniels, who was one of the highest-graded run blockers last season, and wide receiver Nick Westbrook-Akine, a 6 feet 2 inches target who adds much-needed size to the Dolphins' receiving core. Defensively, they've also brought in linebackers like KJ Britt and Tyrell Dodson, as well as safeties Ashton Davis and Ifeatu Melifonwu. Clearly, the front office is making a concerted effort to address weaknesses on both sides of the ball. But one area that still needs attention is the defensive line. Right now, Miami only has one defensive lineman under contract, Zach Sealer. That's a major problem, and unless they bring in reinforcements, they could be in serious trouble when the season starts. There's also a glaring need at cornerback following the departure of Kendall Fuller. While they've made some strong moves in free agency, there's still work to be done. So, where does Mattison fit into all of this? The reality is, he's likely going to be Miami's third running back behind a chain and right. He may get some situational carries, but unless he dramatically improves his efficiency, it's hard to see him becoming a major factor in the offense. The Dolphins are clearly still looking to upgrade at the position, and the draft could provide a better long-term solution. Now, I want to hear from you, Dolphins fans. What do you think of the Alexander Mattison signing? Are you excited about what he can bring to the team? Or do you think Miami should have gone in a different direction? Drop your thoughts in the comments. One of the biggest questions surrounding the Alexander Mattison signing is whether he actually fills the need the Dolphins have been looking to address. Miami needed a physical, between the tackles runner, someone who can grind out tough yards, convert short yardage situations, and add a different dynamic to the explosive duo of Devin Achane and Jalen Wright. But if Mattison's past production is any indication, he may not be the answer the Dolphins were hoping for. Let's take a deeper look at Mattison's history. During his 5 seasons in Minnesota, he was primarily a backup to Dalvin Cook. When Cook was healthy, Mattison was a change-of-pace back who could step in and provide solid, if unspectacular, production. But when given the opportunity to be the lead back, the results were mixed at best. In 2023, after Cook's departure, Mattison was given the chance to be the Vikings' primary running back. Instead of seizing the moment, he struggled, finishing the season with just 3.9 yards per carry and failing to reach the end zone as a runner. A major issue in his game has been a lack of explosiveness. Unlike Achane or Wright, who can turn any carry into a big gain, Mattison has not shown that ability consistently. His longest run last season was just 19 yards, and that wasn't an outlier. Throughout his career, he has rarely broken off big runs. In today's NFL, where running backs need to either be dynamic in space or dominant in short yardage situations, Mattison doesn't seem to fit into either category. And that brings us back to the most concerning stat of all, his inefficiency inside the 5-yard line. A running back with his size should be a weapon in goal line situations, but instead, he's been one of the least effective short yardage runners in the league. Think about it, 19 carries for -7 yards inside the 5 over the past 2 seasons. That is a shocking number. Yes, he managed to score 4 times in those situations, but the fact that he lost yardage overall is a red flag. Miami is bringing him in to be the power back, yet the numbers say he struggles the most in the exact situations they need him for. So, why did the Dolphins sign him? One possible explanation is that they view him as a depth piece rather than a true difference maker. With Achane as the clear RB1 and Wright likely stepping into the RB2 role, Mattison might be more of a rotational player, someone who can take occasional carries and provide veteran experience in the room. The 1-year deal suggests that Miami isn't making a long-term commitment and that they could still be looking for another back, possibly in the draft. But now, I want to hear from you, Dolphins fans. Do you think Alexander Mattison was the right signing? Will he be a valuable addition to Miami's backfield, or should they have gone in a different direction? And do you think the Dolphins will still draft a running back? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, stay tuned for more updates as Miami continues to build its roster for the upcoming season.